All right. Welcome, everyone, to From the Couch Sports Talk Radio. This is Wednesday Football Roundtable. Week 1 is in the books. Now the NFL can really get rolling. Tonight I got David and Eric. We may have some other people popping on, but David, welcome. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing well. Football was great. First week of football. It was a little bit like I expected. Preseason teams come out flat and do all that kind of stuff, but everybody's in the same boat. But it was fun to watch 13 hours of uninterrupted football. That was a good thing.
Yeah, I was not in football shape, I have to say. By the time Sunday Night Football rolled around, I was pretty damn tired. But I powered through it. Eric, what's going on, my man?
How are we doing? So that week, I had 5 games from varsity all the way to middle school. And so I was already pretty football fatigued. But then I got home Saturday about 1 o'clock after I got groceries after the JV game. And I probably sat on my couch until Sunday Night Football. And then I realized I didn't do a damn thing all weekend. But it was glorious. Hey, because I want to know. So, awesome.
All right. Well, so quick news bits. I'm going to throw out a couple, then you guys can throw out whatever you want. But Christian McCaffrey, 45 minutes before the game with the Jets, said he's not going to play. Then I guess fantasy owners were freaking out because of Monday night game. That's brutal. Then you got both the running backs for Miami right now. Possibly out or questionable. But there were a lot of injuries week 1, which you kind of expect because, no one's really played in the preseason. And, now we're going full speed. A lot of teams look flat. A lot of teams look great. Does anyone have anything else to add newsworthy?
Yeah. Hold on, Dave. And I'll be really quick. I petitioned Dave in our sleeper league, who I think, was it you that traded me McCaffrey? Or was it somebody else in our league? Regardless, I'm petitioning my loss because I lost in a close game, and McCaffrey was going to play all weekend, and then suddenly we scratched Monday, and you can't replace him because all the games are played. So that's total bullcrap, Dave. And I'm in our sleeper league. I'm demanding that I get a draw.
Well, I don't know about that, but I'll tell you this. First of all, Raheem Mostert has been ruled out. He's not playing tomorrow night. Devin Achane is a game time decision. So Miami could be going into the Thursday night game with Jeff Wilson and Jalen Wright as their starting running backs. And I'm not going to say anything that's a good thing or a bad thing because as fans of Buffalo, okay, Buffalo has a propensity to let backups look like, MVPs. So that just because they're out doesn't mean anything. The one thing I will say, Eric, is the saddest part about that whole thing, which again should be investigated, because now that the NFL has partnered with fantasy football and there is major wagers on prop bets and so on and so forth, the fact that Christian McCaffrey, they announced him out 90 minutes before game time when the final injury report came out, the fact that they told Jeffrey Mason, the running back, that he was starting on Friday should be a cause of great concern for fantasy owners and people who partner with the NFL and people are placing bets. Because that in itself is a collusionary situation where people are losing a lot of money and they're not reporting injuries properly.
Yeah,
but nothing changed. I mean, the Jets still let old boy run for 735 yards. So the only thing that did get impacted was anybody that had McCaffrey. Like, so I'm talking about spreads, and I'm not talking. I mean, I heard what you said, Eric, which believe you me, that happened in 3 different leagues that I was in, where all 3 teams that lost by less than 10, which the expectation would have been that McCaffrey has 11 or 30, right? So, I mean, from a fantasy perspective, 100% agree. I'm just saying from the bet line, which I initially thought was like the real concern, but there's money bet leagues in this fantasy football, so it's equally as hurtful, I guess I'd say.
All right. Does anyone else have anything newsworthy to share that's important? Because I know that certain people now rely on me because I do this show.
Sean, I have something newsworthy. Do we want to talk about Watson and Deshaun Watson? Do we want?
I think we could talk about that probably during the when we talk about certain games.
Okay.
But we can take a couple of minutes to talk about Watson because in my 4-minute video there I do poke a little fun.
But I think the one thing that you take away from the first week is, like Eric talked about, the injury situation, people coming and playing. The sad part is some of these guys, it had nothing to do with preseason rust or lack of game. I mean, there were some serious injuries over the weekend. A couple offensive linemen went down with knee injury.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, Trent Williams is out for the year. I think a Chain and Mostert both were in camp all year long, right? I mean, we know Trent Williams didn't get hurt at all, and he played every snap. But we also know that both Mostert and a Chain were in every practice. They were getting it. I think they both have soft tissue injuries. Damn that not participating in.
Well, I do. On Eric's behalf, I do want to say that I did see Trent Williams go to the locker room with like 8 minutes left to get like an IV. Dehydrated. So
he wasn't hurt.
If he would have been in camp all year, he wouldn't have been dehydrated. He would have been learning. They would have taught him how to drink properly for the game.
Sure.
Hey, just wait.
Yeah, just wait. It's coming.
Eric, what did you want to say about Deshaun Watson besides it was probably top 3 worst trades ever?
I find it, it's the worst trade of all time because look at the Texans and what they received. I mean, hey, they agree. But ideally, here's the deal, guys. So here's the problem. The story comes out after he looks horrible, and I mean horrible, which I called look horrible at home. Okay, and so now there might be some collusion, right, for Cleveland. I mean, how do we get out of this contract? Because this guy sucks. I mean, and I'm not just sucks. He's Kenny Pickett bad. Like, he is terrible.
And he's getting sued again, which was what you posted to me. Like, hey, Sean, check this out. Talk about that.
100%. He's being sued again. And we're not going to go into, we're a family show, so we're not going to go into the graphic details of what happened. But if you want to look it up and you want to see something horrible about what somebody would do walking into an apartment, read it.
Like I said, because I kind of said it as a joke, but I don't really know if it's a joke anymore. Maybe if he has a clause in his contract, because they knew what they were getting when they traded for him. Yeah, maybe
There's
I'm
no clause.
my bounce.
There's no clause. That's the problem, and that's the issue.
All right. Well, that's just.
Again, I'm just saying, there's a lot of allegations, which are fine, and when it all comes out, it's fine. I mean, if it all comes out and he has to pay money or go to jail, I mean, none of these are criminal. I mean, they should be, but they're not. There's no criminal charges. Not one. Out of all of these things, not one criminal charge.
I'm going to be honest
about the money.
shouldn't there be a criminal charge for going in and doing?
Sure. Hey, listen, for all of the allegations, Eric, since day one, and you and I think you were watching the show at the time when all this stuff was going on. I don't like allegations, but like I said, my frustration with it from day one was the first thing we heard about it is the group of people going to sue Deshaun Watson instead of Deshaun Watson has been arrested for the allegations of sexual assault and whatever, and then do a lawsuit. There's been no criminal charges pressed at all, and that's frustrating to me because that, to me, is enough to where I say, where is the validity? Because this goes back to your thing. I mean, because he's a Cleveland Brown, I know it irks you, and you're like, he should go to jail. But Ben Roethlisberger was alleged to do of things. But in your defense of Ben, well, people will say anything to get $1 because Ben paid the chick. And Deshaun Watson has refused to pay these people. So there, I mean,
Can I counterpoint and we'll move on because we're not going to turn this into Trump and Harris here.
No, but that's my point. And I'm not talking specifically about Ben. I'm talking about anybody who has settled out of court.
I know.
At all.
Just counterpoint. I mean, this guy's got a rap sheet as long as Clinton. I mean, in terms of, you remember when Clinton had all these women line up.
Yeah, but it's allegations. But the problem I have with that Eric is this: the group of people that were brought together for this lawsuit, it wasn't individual women seeking out counsel and to go and sue this dude. It was one lawyer with 20 women that are trying to sue this dude without one charge of any crime.
And the worst part about that is the lawyer who brought these 20 women together had it out for McNair.
He was McNair. He was McNair's the lawyer of the Texans or the neighbor of McNair.
Yeah, yeah. So this allegation is not him. So this is a new.
Sure, it's new. Okay. But again, Sean. But again, listen.
Don't be bringing me into this shit.
I want to throw a disclaimer out here real quick. If the dude is guilty of any of this stuff, then I'm not defending him. I want to let people know that I'm not sitting here defending Deshaun Watson and his perverted mind and all the shit he does, if that's the reality of it all. What I'm saying is until it's proven factual, again, I get frustrated because these are criminal activities with no criminal charges, but we're going right past that with a group of people that this lawyer went out and got, right? It's not like they just all decided to go to Stanley because it's 411 Payne or whatever it is. It's this one lawyer's got these folks. This one's different, but now at this point, we're years later, and this comes out, an alleged 2020 thing. That's 4 years ago. He was still a Houston Texan.
So moving on, I hope that he doesn't get suspended because he's terrible. And John, at least you got half your equation right. Because
again, there will be, and then we're moving on because I will say this: allegations, whatever. Nobody should be suspended until Rashee Rice is suspended. The fact that Rashee Rice is playing today with video of what he did, walking away from a scene of a accident, regardless of whether he's found innocent or guilty, leaving the scene of a crime. Just walking away is a felony itself. So the fact that he did that and the NFL is letting the legal process play out before Ray Rice was not suspended until video came out of him punching his girlfriend in the elevator. Until then, they were allegations.
And that frustrates me to no end because here's the reality about that, and this is how silly this is to me. Ray Rice did not face a criminal charge. He was not arrested for the criminal charge. I think he might have been detained because the girlfriend was knocked out when he was dragging her out of the hotel. But everything there was no charges pressed, so he had no criminal issue, right? If the video never would have surfaced, if the video never existed, Ray Rice would not have missed a single day because the case would have been dropped by the girlfriend to begin with, or now his wife because it was his fiance. It would have been dropped, and he would still be playing football. Period. But then the video came and he was immediately, not a week later, not a decision to be made during the season. Immediately, he never played football again. There was never a day that dude played football in the NFL again. My issue with this Rashee Rice thing is this. They want to watch it come to a conclusion. And I can appreciate that, because the reality of it all is there's multiple charges, gun charges. They took blood 2 days later to see if he was drunk because he didn't turn himself in until or whatever, a day and a half later. But at the end of the day, there's video evidence that they left the scene of an accident. There was bodily injury in one of the. I mean, there are things. So when you compile those and the courts levy the punishment, whether it be fine or imprisonment or whatever, then the NFL can react. The problem I have is that you don't have to wait. This isn't double jeopardy. Listen. For the mere fact that dude walked away and flee the scene of a crime or of an accident, that's a felony. You have violated the NFL's code of conduct, and you will be suspended for insert said game. That's another issue, and we don't want to dive down this rabbit hole. But insert the games in which you're going to be suspended for violating this one statute. Next year, when all of the stuff comes out, there'll be more. But for right now, because it's one instance with several counts, if you will. He should be suspended. He should not be playing football right now.
So,
all right. Well, real quick, Ray Rice was arrested for that incident, but obviously the rest wasn't as bad. It was when the video came out is when they suspended him. And I think that's kind of the point you were making, Jeff.
Right. He was, and I remember he was arrested because when he was, that's how Baltimore had found out that he had did something, and he had said it wasn't as bad, and they were like, okay, so they weren't really moving because his fiance wasn't going to press charges. He was not going to get charged with anything at all. So it would have been let's move until the elevator had a video camera, and then wow, TMZ got it.
Right. I got 1 minute and 16 seconds before I have to jump off for just a minute because my beef stew's got to come off. But anyway, because I still got to do my thing, man. I can work and, do this. Tyreek Hill got arrested, pulled out of the car on his way to the stadium. Now, he rolled down his window and the cops pulled him over. He was doing 60 and probably a 35 or something. Not smart, but nothing crazy, Then he rolled his window back up. The cop told him to put it down. He took offense to it. The cop pulled him out of the car. Before I let you guys expand on this, I'm just going to tell you, First Amendment auditors, some of you are okay, some of you are terrible. If a cop asks you to roll down your window, it is recommended. You don't need to do it. It's recommended. So he kind of caused this whole thing himself. A little bit, So I think this is not blown out of proportion because of how the cops handled it. But he did not do himself any favors.
No,
anyone have any thoughts on this?
And the fact is, what they didn't disclose in that whole thing was that these cops are also fantasy owners who their teams were playing. The other guy had Tyreek Hill on their roster, so they were trying to detain him as long as possible so he couldn't suit up and play.
It's crazy, man. Like, I don't want to get into this conversation because it gets so
convoluted,
so silly, man. I got to tell you, I've listened, and I've read posts on Facebook, videos on Instagram, and all these people talking, and there are all these folks. Everybody's got different opinions. I get it. So I didn't see the video of the situation until this morning. I considered all of the things I was reading and all the videos, not of the situation. I mean, I saw the video from a guy driving by and saw it, but no interaction with the cop, right? Then I saw the webcam or the body cam footage this morning. But it's funny to me because this cop thing is so racially based and all this other shit, and it gets really frustrating. And I feel bad for a lot of folks that really do and really have to live a life in fear of certain things. But at the end of the day, it was interesting because there was a white cop that pulled him out of the car. But there was a Hispanic. The Hispanic cop is the one who was talking to him, and there was one who was kind of escalating the situation. The white cop just kind of went off of what the Hispanic cop was doing. And then on the side of the road, when he got tossed on the ground after he's saying he had knee surgery, It was not. It was the Hispanic dude that did it as well. Now, all that being said, none of it is justified. I don't like Tyreek's reaction to it when they banged down his window and they said, roll your window down. And he rolled it down, gave him his stuff, and put it back up. And then they asked him to roll it down again, and he wouldn't. Could he have made it easier for him? Sure. But he didn't. And then from there, then it got funny. And then there's that God complex thing for the cops and the way they act and all that stuff. I didn't appreciate that too much. I think the whole situation was over inflated and over escalated. The one thing that was interesting though is that I've heard mixed stories about the speed and why it was so significant, because they're a block away from the stadium, which means people park and then walk to the stadium. So if this recommended speed limit, which is posted at 30 miles an hour, and you're going 60 on a football Sunday, an hour and a half before kickoff or whenever it was the morning of, people are going to the stadium. There's people, men, women, children, kids, whatever it may be, and they're walking. You don't need all that nonsense. So he was wrong, and he admitted so, right? I mean, it's not like he's like denying that. And he also said that he had a part to play in the situation. He does not agree with the escalation of force. I do not either. And so that's where it doesn't matter about who feels which way about cops and all that stuff. The reality is the situation was warranted, meaning he got pulled over. He was getting a ticket. Everything other than that from all sides was silly. I mean, it's silly.
I guess to me, it just comes down to the fact that, look, you got a ticket. You got pulled over. You can make it easy on yourself or you can make it difficult. And I don't care what color you are. It's not about that. I understand that, there is a propensity for the black community to get treated unfair. But the reality is this: you know who you are. You're waiting to be at your stadium for a football game. Okay, you got pulled over for doing 60, where there's pedestrians and kids and everybody else. The officer asks you to roll down your window, give them your information, keep your window down. Your windows are tinted. We're just doing this for our safety. Okay. I don't care who you are.
But that's not what happened though. That's the problem.
They did. What happened was, he
gave him his shit and said, go do what you have to do and give me a ticket so I can get to the stadium.
Keep your window down.
Why?
And that was the problem.
Why? Because
so again, now that's the problem. Why? Because his windows were tinted. The cops, he had back window tint. They can't see into the car. They asked him to keep his window down. But here's the problem. It's real simple. Keep your window down. It's simple. Why? So David, then what? So then
David,
open your window.
Listen. Well, here's the difference, right? Never mind. Moving on. Why? Because I don't fucking have to. You've told me what's wrong. I've given you my shit. Go to your car.
They also told you to keep your window down, but you don't.
You don't have to. But anyway, that's beside the point.
Do at a traffic stop.
Okay.
But the biggest thing we should take away from this whole incident is Tyreek Hill got pulled out of a car. It's the only time he's pulled out of anything in the last 5 years. Okay? So if we can now please play NFL Week 1, 2024, and hopefully it's not.
That was fun.
That was good.
That was good, Sean. That might have been the funniest thing I've heard on this show ever.
Yeah, good. Good. I was going to say something, but Sean,
go ahead.
No. Sean took it home. Moving on.
All right, let's move on.
That even got a chuckle. Like, did you hear it? That was like a belly laugh from me. Like, I don't even have a belly laugh in real life. That came out of nowhere. That was good.
Okay, we're gonna see this. So ready? This is Sean's creation.
See if it works.
Is that it? That's not it.
Terry McCauley's gonna have to make this call, but it looks like that toe's on the line, Terry.
Can't rely on anyone these days. You gotta do everything yourself. Don't we? That's okay. We came prepared.
Showing blitz. Murray to his left just throws it up for grabs, and it is incomplete, intended for Dortch.
Oh, for shame. Look at your fingernails.
Hi.
That's why. Now sit down and shut up.
It slipped. I just ate popcorn.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
Maximum effort.
It's happening up front and makes you edgy and jumpy. 3rd and 11. Stroud fires, and it is broken up by Jones, but on the sideline, Collins may have caught it. Unbelievable!
Recovered in the end zone, 20. It goes back 1st and 10 to a Tagovailoa. Armstead the block, and he's going deep. He's caught Hill. Foot race, driving. That is 6. Oh, he's a ghost.
That boy sure is a running fool.
You lose. Good day, sir.
Wait a second, guys. Whoever said you had to be good to play football? Play football so you can go out there and pretend that you're Joe Montana throwing a touchdown pass or Emmitt Smith going for a long run?
The worm has turned. This is flaming vodka.
Okay, Flaming Dragon, fuckface. First, take a big step back and literally fuck your own face! I will fuck you up!
Mayfield looks left all the way. Single coverage, one-on-one. Oh, what a catch! Mike Evans!
Oh, it's good.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this. And totally redeem yourself!
Don't worry about your boy. You're doing good.
It ain't got no gas in it.
How would you handle this?
We could try ignoring it, sir.
I see. Pretend nothing has happened and hope everything turns out all right in the morning.
Just a thought, sir.
I've considered that. There's got to be a better angle.
Alrighty, so there's your scores and recap for the week. Any specific games you guys want to talk about? I will say that Baker Mayfield pass to Evans was beautiful.
That's good. Well, why don't we start on Monday and move backwards?
We can. I'm just hoping this is just week 1.
Yeah, but before I do that, I just want to. I mean, the game was an interesting game, and I remember beforehand. I mean, all summer long, Eric. I mean, especially after we really started getting on Eric about the Steelers, right? I mean, like there was a point where we were like, the Steelers will be okay, and then of course, I kind of dug my knuckles into Eric's ribs all summer long about all the players that they were silly for signing, and Eric got real mad. And so he started doing Buffalo stuff for a little bit, and we were kind of like the show where we talk Buffalo and Pittsburgh, and no one really likes to listen to that all the time. But when that happened, all of a sudden Eric became like this huge Aaron Rodgers resurgence fan. It was like, the Jets are winning the division. They're amazing on first week of the season. I mean, he used the Kirk Cousins Achilles as like a reason why Kirk Cousins couldn't do it, but all of a sudden Aaron Rodgers is smarter. He was going to release the ball. And I just want to make sure that we remember this quote. I mean, here, just hold on a second. Because Eric did pick the Jets to win with Sean. But I just want to let you know that.
I let my heart talk my head into that one.
I understand.
When I was going through the Jets' schedule, I had them losing. But I started looking at this. I'm like, they can win. They can win.
But see, Sean, I try to remind you, and I'm just going to remind you again real quick. Now, Robert Salah, guess who he was the coach for? the same guy who's going to fucking teach him a lesson. Because here's the deal. Salah hasn't done shit as a coach. You want to talk about motivation? He can be motivated all he wants. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to be motivated to talk to daddy and kiss the rings because he came from the guy who's fucking coaching him. And the coach is going to coach him again. Bottom line.
Wow.
Bam. That was just an emphasis on what I said after Eric was like, and Trent Williams and Ayuk and blah, 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 and Aaron Rodgers, all that shit. I'll tell you right now, it's an interesting thing. And Sean, to your point, I think it's week 1 because the reality is their defense looked like shit and the Jets don't have a shit defense. Their offense looked like shit and they don't have a shit offense. So I would connect that to poor planning in the preseason and playing a pretty good team that had a left tackle coming off of never touching a football field until the end of the summer. But anyway, or signing a deal.
Okay. Well, I do want to say let's quick jump to bad week 1 or just bad. And the last one we were going to talk about is the Jets, but we can talk about it first. Does anyone here think the Jets do they have a bad week 1 or are they just bad?
I will say this: they had a bad week 1, and to Jeffrey's point, I do want to say one thing, and about the receivers. Okay, the Jets have Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson's great. Alan Lazard was brought in as an Aaron Rodgers favorite. He was a target in Green Bay, but he's really not that good. He drops the ball quite a bit. They don't. Mike Williams is 3 plays away from 6 weeks on the IR with a hamstring injury, so he didn't get targeted at all. I think he was on the field for like 18 snaps the entire game. So I don't look at this Jets offense and wide receiver room as some great thing. Okay, Garrett Wilson is great. He's a great wide receiver. So again, it was a bad week 1. They're not bad. Their defense is a lot better than what they played. But I believe that the confidence in Aaron Rodgers, he's 42 years old. He's coming off an Achilles injury. It takes time, and they got to get their running game on track. That is going to be the key to keep Aaron Rodgers and the Jets in it, is to develop their running game and let Breece Hall be Breece Hall, because I think their receiver room is overrated. Garrett Wilson's great. After that, they got a bunch of 2s and 3s or 3s and 4s.
Listen, I disagree with David in many ways. I disagree with him then. Again, one, Aaron Rodgers could be 58. I don't care. The timing was off on a few plays, but at the end of the day, the first down that he threw behind Garrett Wilson, I mean, there was pass interference on it too. There was some hands early. But either way, listen. Garrett Wilson is Devontae Adams. And I'm not saying as good as Devontae Adams. I'm saying that Garrett Wilson is what he had in Devontae Adams. He still had hold on a second. Hey, close the door. Close the door. Close the door. Baby, go. Hold on. I'm going to whoop someone's tail.
It's like Hodor. Hold the door. Hodor. Hey, anybody ever watch Game of Thrones?
Yes.
I know.
That's the Hodor scene right there. Hey, anyways. All right, look. Sean, here's the deal. And Jeff's not listening, so I was about to give him some love because he's actually right on Salah. Okay, here's the problem. I have concerns about the coach. Okay, you have to get your defense. Jeff is correct. Jeff is right. Okay, you have this great defense last year that has to keep you in games. Okay, the idea is, hey, we have the same defense. We're going to play the same style, and we're going to score more points because our offense is going to be more productive. And what do? Your defense comes out flat. You lay a fucking egg. Okay? And it's the opposite ends. It's like he ignored the entire defensive game plan and just tried to get his offense ready to go. And so I don't think the guy is I'm disappointed. It's week 1. I don't want to throw them under the bus because I think they're the most talented team in the AFC. I really do. But I'm really disappointed in the game planning and the execution, which is coaching, that the Jets showed on Monday Night Football. It was the most disappointing performance to me of the week. And so give Jeff kudos. He called.
I did, but I'm really just teasing. I mean, I'm not teasing. What I said was factual when I said it. But here's the deal: I like Salah. I think he's going to do fine. I think it's rust. I think that they have a lot of things to work out. And I never care about what a first. Go in time and watch any show we've ever done on this show. Week 1, they could be the greatest team in the NFL. I mean, I think New Orleans scored like 50 points or some shit. Do I think that they're going to do that again this year? No. But if they do it 3 or 4 times or even one more time, right, I'll be like, wow, because it wouldn't have been expected, right? At the end of the day, week 1 is week 1. It is what it is. The only team I expect to have a repeat performance all year long is the Carolina Panthers. The only team that I think will have a repeat performance. Now, that being said, this game was interesting. Sean, I don't think you have to worry about it. I think that really Salah's – look, since he became a Jet, wins and losses, I know that means something, right? And to say wins and losses don't mean anything is just dumb. But here's the deal. They've won games. Salah has won games with no offense at all. I mean, Breece Hall was they were doing well until he got hurt. What was that? Not last year, the year before, right, Dave? It was 2 years ago. And then Garrett Wilson is good, but they had who throwing it to him, right? So at the end of the day, I don't mind their receiving core. I mean, Mike Williams is a stretch because of the fact that when he is there, he's a beast, man. But is he going to be healthy? But again, I don't believe that in the MVP seasons that Aaron Rodgers had, I don't believe he had the best receiving core in the NFL then. I think Devontae Adams, like Garrett Wilson, is a stellar number 1 receiver.
But I will say one thing about it, though, and this is where I say it's a little different, is even in his MVP years and even as he was getting older in his MVP years before his injury, okay, they're the one thing that Aaron Rodgers was able to do well, and he didn't do it in gain rushing yards or anything, but he was able to give himself time in the pocket, move in the pocket, move out of the pocket to allow plays to develop where he'd go to the right and throw back to the left and find that window where Devontae Adams or whoever was open. And
don't disagree.
I don't know if that's going to be there. I
right.
don't know.
And well, that was my point to Eric throughout the whole offseason, right? And I don't know if it's going to be there. It's a big part of his game. And Eric was always talking about the quickness of his release, and it is. But the one thing that people fail to jump on and really, I mean, if you know Aaron Rodgers and like Aaron Rodgers and watch Aaron Rodgers, I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan. When the Jets got him, I was like, Jesus, this sucks for Bills fans. And it's good for the Jets because Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Famer and he's going to be fine. But then he hurt his Achilles. And the fact that Aaron Rodgers' ability to extend plays, look at almost all of his long passes down the field historically, they're not in the pocket. They're to the right or to the left. He's not running around. He's just moving, and he moves well with his feet. And sometimes he does run. But all that being said, the offside penalty that he had the free play on, that's what you expect from the guy who does it more than anybody else. Free plays, the dude has more touchdowns than anybody else, like by a lot, because he's a beast, man. The Jets had a bad week. They're not going to be a bad team. It's week 1. No, anybody rushing to crazy conclusions that the Jets are just the Jets, I don't think so. I think
Sean, relax.
Yep.
I am relaxed, and I think that was a bad week 1. They're not just bad.
Yeah. But you also got the Super Bowl. I mean, and that's the other part, though, now, right? And this is the part where I think we got to be. We can't be silly either. We talk about competition, and we say, okay, Jets, you got a quarterback, and you improved a bit. I mean, your linebacker that you had replaced isn't there because you haven't signed him, which was dumb Jets shit, right? And we got that. But you're playing against the team that damn near beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl last year, and they didn't lose really anything. So to compare that where the Jets were last year in 3rd place out of the playoffs, and now everybody wants them to be a Super Bowl contender, which is fine. But on week 1, if this game was played week 9, week 12, I think we have a significantly different outcome. And maybe not the score. And it might not be the Niners may win. Niners ain't scoring 32. And I don't believe the Jets score 19. I think it's a much lower scoring game because both defenses will be on point, and there'll be some more the jabs, right? Like in a boxing match. You're not throwing the kitchen sink out there. And week 1, it was just a matter of, hey, we haven't run a real play against a real defense since the Super Bowl. The Jets were like, we haven't done it since the first week of January. So I would pump the brakes. They'll be
exactly.
all right.
And that's why, does this team just have a bad week 1 or is it just a bad team? Jeff brought it up. My number 2, well, actually, it was the first game I was going to talk about, Carolina. I think this is just a bad team again this year. Does anyone disagree and have a reason to disagree with that?
No, they're gonna 0-17.
They'll win. They'll win on accident, right? I mean, I feel bad for Charlotte and Carolina. I don't know, man. Like, and oh, by the way, if I'm the GM there, I'm fired too. Like when this dude gets fired, I'm fired too, because last year, remember, pre-draft, why you would take CJ Stroud before you take this guy? Well, I would have picked this guy too, and let CJ Stroud go to Houston, right? And so at the end of the day, it's not the right pick. He's not. I don't know what he is. Like, I don't know if he's the problem all the way around him, even though he lines up behind the wrong people like more than once a game, which is like if you don't line behind center, that's cool. It happens. But when you do it twice in one game, it's a bad look all the way across the board.
Well, again, I think this GM here doesn't pick talent, doesn't know how to pick talent. He has no playmakers around his team. He has there's no player on that team that puts fear into any defense that they got to go up and like have to game plan for anybody on that offense. The defense can just play a base defense and they're fine because there is no fear of playing a Carolina team. They're from their quarterback to their running backs to their wide receivers, tight. There's no fear. Defenses can go in and play a base 3-4 defense or 4-3, whatever they play in their base. They don't even have to be exotic in their defensive scheme because nobody on that field stretches the field, scares that team. That the team's just bad. And
Paul, to answer your question real quick, no, they played the Carolina Panthers. We'll have to wait and see. The jury is out on that question.
Hey, Paul's a Saints fan, right? So he loves the shit. But here, let me just say this real quick, not to beleaguer this team, because who wants to talk about Carolina for this long? And I get it. But what's really interesting is I disagree with you, David, in one perspective, because you say they don't have any talent, and I can't be mad at a GM for doing some of the things he did. He brought in Miles Sanders after Miles Sanders had a good year in Philly, right? He brought in Adam Thielen, which Adam Thielen was consistently decent in Minnesota. He brought in, I mean, there's a couple other little guys here and there, nothing significant, but he brought in some folks. The defense side of the ball, he let old boy walk last year finally in the offseason. What's his name? The left end, the defensive end that they finally let go.
Burns.
Yeah, Burns. And that's rough. But look, they rushed Miles Sanders 5 times. They rushed like Chubba Hubbard like 6 times. That happened because they got so far down so fast. I mean, it was 17-0 after the first quarter. They threw an interception in that first quarter. They fumbled the ball in the first quarter. They threw an interception on the first drive of the second half. It's just that they couldn't. They threw well over. I mean, I think they only threw 30 or 31 times. They only ran like 20 times. On that team, you have to establish the run. And oh, by the way, Miles Sanders was averaging 4.5 yards per carry. Keep him running the ball, and that would take some stress off of Bryce Young. But the problem is, did I say Bryce? Whatever. Young. The problem is that you get down fast in football, especially not down 7-0, but a quick 17-0 lead. We're throwing the ball, and then the defense spins their ears back, and you look like what you look like. More forced fumbles, interceptions. It was bad. They're bad.
All right.
They're bad.
Eric, wake up. This one's coming to you. Bad week for week 1 or bad week? And yes, real quick, talking about the Carolina Panthers, I did not want to do that for 10 minutes. I figured that would be quick. But I do have to give Jeffrey some credit because he went back and clipped that part of the broadcast just to replay it and shove it in my face. I enjoy it.
Hey,
kudos to you, mon frere.
Yeah, so the Carolina Panthers, week.
No. I'm giving you a whole new one. We're not talking about the fucking Panthers anymore.
Thank you. God.
All right. Bad week 1 or just bad? The Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay, here's the deal. They're bad. And they're going to disagree with me, but here's the problem. There's more than just a quarterback. Okay, and he's a traditionally slow starter. And so this is my problem with the Bengals. And I'm glad to be lively awake.
Play in your division. That's what's bad with them.
What's that?
They play in your division. That's what's bad with them.
No, here's the deal. Okay. And now I'm lively awake after that Carolina Panthers discussion since I've been doing football all day long and I was enjoying my nice little 10-minute nap, my power nap there. So here's the deal. Okay, Joe Burrow will probably be fine, and he'll probably be enough to keep them competitive, but they have weaknesses at skill positions like Zach Moss, weakness. Their wide receivers will probably get it right, but their line still is not very good. And you, for that offense, need to have a decent offensive line, and they keep trying to skirt around this issue of like we don't need to address the offensive line, or we're gonna half-ass address it, but we're not gonna fully make it over. So, and the other problem is they lost some dogs on the defensive line. So their defense, they lost some guys. And their secondary the year before lost both their starting safeties. And they haven't had guys that are proven in that defensive backfield, along now with guys like DJ Reader who are gone on the defensive line. So, here's the deal. The Bengals are going to be what the Bengals are, which is relying on Joe Burrow having a fantastic day for them to win games. They'll probably do that 7 or 8 times, but he won't do it 12 times or 15 times or 13 times. And they're going to be 7 and 10 or 8 and 9 just because Joe Burrow will probably win some games, but they're a bad team. And you can't get around having to address some of the fundamental issues. And he's been beat up. I can't believe they're not like, let's just build this offensive line. Like, what are you doing? You talk about GMs that need to be fired after they go 7 and 10 or 8 and 9. Enough is enough. I would want out if I was Joe Burrow, but he's getting paid. But they got to build this damn offensive line, and they just refuse to do it. And so they get what they get.
Yeah, they're bad. So I'm gonna clip this out at the end of the year too because they're not finishing 7 and 10, and it's funny because Joe Burrow for his entirety of his career has been behind a horrible offensive line, and the fact that Higgins was out and he threw the Jamar Chase. What?
He's finished 2 seasons, right?
Yeah, and both. You're right. He finished 2 seasons, and both seasons he finished. One was in the Super Bowl, one was in the AFC Championship game, and it makes me laugh really hard because everybody gives Josh Allen shit about intercepting, and I'm not going to Buffalo. Joe Burrow has taken more sacks than any NFL quarterback in his time since he's been in the NFL. And here's the deal. Some are piss poor offensive line play, and some are Joe Burrow holding the ball too long. But no one wants to say that. No one wants to say it because Joe Burrow's a shit. But here's the deal. Here's reality. You can say that, well, they're too much on Joe Burrow. Well, here's the deal. Every single season that Joe Burrow's played, yes, he's finished 2 seasons. I got it. Pretty good results on those. So, T. Higgins out, Jamar Chase there, Boyd's gone. So there's a lot of string along. I mean, they got Mark Gesicki. The Cincinnati Bengals don't use, or Mike Gesicki, excuse me, they don't use tight ends like that. They're not a bad team. I'm telling you right now. Even funnier to me, and this is where, Eric, I agree with you. I don't know if you know the stat line, but I do know you said it. They're typically slow starters. Joe Burrow is 1-9 in his first 2 games of his career. Every season, 1-9. So what that tells me is Taylor needs to get the fuck off his ass and during the preseason, or the team needs to figure out something to get them to not start off 0-2 or 0-1. When you're 1-9 in your first two games this season, that's shitty. I don't give a shit what the end result is, but even though the end result gets him well past the Steelers every single year he's been healthy. And I'm going to tell you, because he has been. Every year he's finished the season, he's finished ahead of Pittsburgh, which they'll do again this year. They will not finish under 500, and they will be a much better team.
Now, I just got to say something here because I'm about ready to start a drinking game because right now I feel like between Jeff and Eric, I am listening to a Joe Biden speech talking about here's the deal. Here's the deal. If I hear that phrase one more time, I'm going to mute you both because that is the most annoying phrase. But my point about this,
are you going to fuck around and find out?
Hey, he just fucked around and found out, Sean. I kicked his ass out. He ain't muting a fucking thing. And here's the deal. Come back in, Davey.
I'm going to come back. I want to move forward. I don't want to go back.
Yeah, okay. Here's the deal. Fucking talk.
So anyway, the point is this. Bad first week, not a bad team. They were missing some key parts. I do agree with Eric in the sense that their running game took a hit. Zach Moss is not Joe Mixon, okay? Chase Brown could be that guy eventually, but he's not there yet. So I agree with Eric. their running game took a hit. Joe Mixon was a great outlet for Joe Burrow. He could catch the ball out of the backfield, and he was a good runner in between the tackles and outside. He had speed, could get down the field. Zach Moss had one wonderful year in Indianapolis when Jonathan Taylor was hurt, suspended. But again, Joe, the running game is going to be key to keep Joe Burrow healthy and keep the Bengals offense.
What's a good average per run for a running back in a regular game or a season? What's the good average?
Anywhere between 3.8, 4.2, somewhere in that area.
So Zach Moss ran the ball 9 times for 44 yards of a touchdown. That means he had 9 carries, 4.8 yards per carry, or 4.9 yards per carry. So Zach Moss is not Joe Mixon. But hand the ball off to any running back in the NFL 9 times and tell me that they're at 135 yards or even hurt. I mean,
that would have the offensive line the Colts do, and that's all they're.
It doesn't.
And so
wait. Say what?
The Colts have a better offensive line.
No, I don't care about the Colts. I'm asking you right now. If right now this weekend that Zach Moss carried the ball 9 times, 4.9 yards per carry, and a touchdown. He carried the ball 9 times. That shit ain't got nothing to do with the Colts offensive line. He carried the ball, had 4. You guys said between 3.8 and 4.2. He had 4.9 yards per carry, carried the ball 9 times. I'm not saying as good as Joe Mixon. What I am saying is if you carry the ball, go look at any team that carried the ball 9 times with their number one running back and tell me what their odds were. Joe Burrow threw the ball 29 times, 21 for 29. Not a bad ratio there, but you threw the ball almost 12 more times than you carried, or than you carried it. And you still only put up 10 points. What's the flash in the pan? Where's the offensive coordinator? What's the issue? I mean, so I'm not saying, again, I'm not arguing your point to a certain extent. I'm just saying that Zach Moss with 9 carries averaged 4.9. If he has 19 carries, how many yards is that? 19 carries, 4.4 or 4.9 is over 100 yards, right?
I'm gonna let you have the last word, unlike or let this punt, because I'm not gonna turn this into like Trump every time that I get wronged and try to continue on.
All right,
he had a 26-yard carry. I mean, so he had 19 yards beyond that.
You had oh geez, okay. I'm not even gonna say that. Thank you for saying that. I'm gonna write this down so when I get to the game, I want to talk about all the yards you ranked in. Let's go. Moving on.
All right, so moving on. First off, folks, we are not a political show. It doesn't matter if you are a Republican, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian. We love you all, and we will refrain from fucking bringing up politics. You douche.
I did not bring up politics. All I said
brought Joe Biden. So shut up.
I just thought that's his quote. Here's the deal. Look at,
Dear God, I don't need to fucking expand on this. I just want to get the point.
No, he needs to explain.
Sean, I want to go forward. I don't want to look back.
Okay. Let's I got 2 more bad week 1s or just bad, and then we're going to talk about specific games, and we're going to go into the pick'em. I do not want to spend more than 2 minutes on this bad week 1 or just bad. The New York Giants.
Bad.
Does anyone have anything else to say besides they are just fucking
fire the entire staff?
I want you to remember, Sean, when you said that Allen from the Saints was going to get fired first, and I said by week 4, Dable should be gone, along with the GM, along with Daniel Jones, along with the whole stadium. The Giants should no longer be able to play football. They are trash, garbage.
I did hear a really good story from Carl Banks, because at halftime they honored the 100 greatest Giants or whatever it was. They had the halftime show, and he was standing next to Lawrence Taylor, and Lawrence Taylor went over to Carl Banks and said, he goes, hey, and because Lawrence Taylor doesn't watch the games, and he goes, hey, I could get 22 of us right here, and the oldest guy on the youngest guy on the list of Giants was 50, and he goes, I could get 22 of us to go put on pads right now, and we would kick their ass.
Oh, my God. That's brutal. Okay, the last one here. Eric, I'm going to give you a chance to start off about it because you mentioned it before. The Cleveland Browns. Did they just have a bad week 1, or are they just bad?
So here's the deal, and I'm going to be as fair as possible. I think if they had Jameis Winston, they might win some games because I don't think they're completely a bad team. But if Deshaun Watson has to play and he doesn't get suspended and they play him because of their contract, they will be absolutely dog crap. And here's the deal: they don't want to play for the guy. They don't play hard for the guy. They don't like the guy, and ideally he's there because of the money, and they have to pay him. The guy has 13 touchdowns now in 2+ seasons, and we drag and we beat up other quarterbacks. We talk other quarterbacks. He sucks, and there's no other way around it. He's behind on his receivers. There's no juice to the offense. It's just terrible. And the fact that they're not going to have Chubb back for the first half of the season, they'll be 0-7 or 1-7, 0-8. They're going to be a dog crap team. And their pride, their defense, yeah, about that. They suck too. I don't think they're going to suck week in and week out, but they were bad. And so if they're bad and they don't hold their end of the deal, they have no hope. They can't run the ball. They can't pass. It's a bad team.
So basically you're saying that the Browns could be in the situation that Jets were last year where the defense is playing 40 minutes a game. The offense is going 3 and out every single time.
They would be better off leaving their defense on the field, not last week, but probably because Watson just is terrible and it's just deflating to them. And you could watch the defense come on the field because he's so bad. And they're like, fuck, sorry.
No, here's what else. I agree with you, Eric. I don't think the Browns are bad. I think Watson's bad. And the fact that I think what proves how bad Watson is and how Kevin Stefanski at this point is looking for anything and everything. The fact that they were out of it with 4 minutes left in the game and they kept Deshaun Watson in the game, trying to find anything, any spark, let's build on this play. Let's do something for next week to show the team that maybe this guy can have something, and he don't have it. I agree. Whether it's Dorian Thomas Robinson, or Jameis Winston, you can't allow a good defense like them to be demoralized by your starting quarterback. And I'm getting to the point where they're better off without Deshaun Watson, and they'd be better off to eat that money. I just don't think he's good anymore. I don't think he has it. That's just my opinion.
That is a big slice of shit pie to try to have to swallow, dude.
I mean, they swallowed it, and they're not moving forward with it. So, look, I don't think they're a bad team, and I'm going to give Deshaun Watson a pass for a second. I mean, not for a season, for a second, because here's the deal, right? I don't give a shit what he did last year. He was injured during the year before he was injured as well. And what's funny is Eric will tell the world that a player who doesn't practice or play in preseason and then come out is bound to be bad, right? I mean, so Kirk Cousins, who didn't play at all, Aaron Rodgers, who didn't play at all, I don't know. Insert said any other quarterback that looked like shit this weekend. I'm gonna give him a pass. I'm not gonna say if he continues to do it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, there is no comparison between Deshaun Watson and 2 other guys I mentioned. But I'm not gonna say that those guys are gonna right the ship because they're amazing and Deshaun Watson's just gonna suck. If Deshaun Watson gets healthy, he should play, and he should play well. The fact that Chubb is out, that's rough. Ford did very, very well. It's frustrating though, because the difference is that teams plan for Chubb. They don't plan for Ford, which changes the outlook of how defensive approach them. But we'll see.
All right.
It'll be rough when Cleveland's ahead of Pittsburgh in the standings and the power rankings.
Hey, why do you always give him the last word, Sean?
Hey, Sean.
I was going to move on to our next subject, which I know this is one David wanted to talk about. Just because we're an hour into the program, we still got to do our pick'ems. But I wanted to give David a chance to talk about rookie QBs. I want to give Jeffrey a chance to talk about the games he wanted to this week, and I want to give you a chance to talk about whatever the hell you want. I just would like to relegate you all to like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I won't even be that long, because here's my thought. I having Sunday ticket, I was watching the games, and I was watching the Denver game. I watched Washington. I watched Chicago. So my point is this. The hype around all these guys, Caleb Williams looked fantastic in preseason, pedestrian in the regular season, because coaches don't install a game plan. They play vanilla defense. Bo Nix looked great. I will say I like Bo Nix. I was watching him closely because outside of Caleb Williams, everybody thinks Bo Nix is the most ready quarterback of the group. And I watched him, and he had some really, really good mechanics. The things that I was watching with Bo Nix, he waits too long. He holds the ball. He doesn't throw to the receiver right away. He leads him. So he's got to get a quicker release, has to do those things to develop into a pro quarterback. But I liked what he had. Jalen, whatever his name is, from Washington.
Daniels.
He's probably going to be the most successful one right away. The fact that he can get outside the pocket, he has great touch on his passes. I love what he does. Caleb Williams, for all of his what are you guys doing? Eric, you're just like Mr. Giggly there. But no, I think the hype of the rookie quarterbacks in preseason. Shut up, Eric. What? I'm going to read your private. Now I'm going to go squirrel on you guys because, oh, shut up. I can talk about mechanics because I was watching the mechanics of the quarterback. Because, again, these guys were hyped up coming out of the draft. They were the number 1, 3, 12 quarterback pick. And I really was trying to pay attention to what they were doing. And
hit the ball, and then they go backward.
Idiot. Shut up. Well, just because you're a coach. And you know, now that you got me doing this, screw it. Because I saw the picture your son took you, Eric, with standing on the sideline with your play sheet all rolled up, and that's why your teams don't win, because you got to keep it open so you can read the damn plays. If it's all crinkled up,
David's getting a little fiery here because we're talking about his.
I'm trying to do something, and all you guys do is in the private chat tell me they're talking about mechanics. That's funny.
Hey, but
we were
there's
talking
nobody
about
out there
that on Jeff in the private chat.
Hey, Sean, like David doesn't see that right before that. You were talking shit about me. But just so you know, it's called a private chat, dipshit.
It ain't private no more, so get ready.
Oh, fine. Well, good. I hope you read everything on the teleconference.
But seriously, because I don't want to take the I did like it. I think the hype is a little, you know, I think these people talk these guys into being more than they are. Some of the throws that Caleb made were great, and some of them were like, what the hell are you thinking? So again, I just look at it from the standpoint of when we talk in preseason and we see these guys playing, just give them an opportunity. Don't dub them the next great thing based on 3 preseason games, because obviously teams are not preparing to do anything exotic or whatnot against these guys. And once these defenses start playing their regular season defense where they install a game plan and do all this stuff, these guys are going to have growing pains. But
Dave,
I like
well, here's the problem, Dave.
Daniels.
To your point, CJ Stroud didn't look good in preseason last year. As a matter of fact, CJ Stroud didn't look good in the first couple games, to be honest with you. He started to look great, right? And a CJ Stroud happens every, I don't know, 15 years or so.
Yeah, he's an anomaly.
He is. And so, but the problem is that everybody hypes up the next guy, Caleb Williams, to be the next CJ Stroud. Stop acting like it's normal for these guys to come in and just tear it up. Now, do I think that Caleb Williams has the tools around him to be good? Yeah. But I also watched Caleb Williams take some shots, get sacked. The same issues that Justin Fields was having in Chicago, right? So, anyhow, it's interesting. I'm interested to watch them develop throughout the course of the year.
All right, here's the deal, Butthole. Up there, I'm rolling up my play sheet. Okay.
Go after yourself, San Diego.
Number 1 up there, Skippy. It's a freaking paper and it's backsided. And hey, by the way, my other coach, if he's watching, I appreciate you for doing that. By the way, because he takes good care of, and Corey gets all that stuff organized and ready to go. But
shout out to Corey.
I take pride that I've memorized 2 sheets of paper, and that as I'm watching the game, I can sit out there and recall what I read and what I've been doing all year.
Play number 1. Play number 4. Play number 4.
You said 4. I was thinking play number 1, halfback dive. Play number 2 is on the second sheet. I memorized the shit.
Wow.
I know that. Hey, listen.
I can memorize that.
Eric, I know that's not true. And for you watching, I'm busting Eric's chops. I know that's not true. Eric's got it on lock. I'm teasing. I'm only busting his.
And by the way, that was the game. I think he took a picture at the end of it that we freaking won. So all I can tell you is, Mr. Lodick, is when you're mad because we're laughing in the private chat, let us have our moment because we're enjoying you.
You are not enjoying me. You're like sitting
there enjoying that.
Are you going to read the private chat, David?
Mechanics is like Dave talking about route running. Yeah, it is because I know I can
keep reading. Keep reading the private chat, Dave.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
No. You skipped 3 whole lines. Read those 3.
I'm not going to read that.
Read the lines.
No.
Okay.
All right, so let's moving on, folks. 608, Jeffrey, give us a couple minutes about the games you wanted to talk about.
Hey, so I got to be honest with you, man. I watched a lot of the game. I listened to your guys' introductions when I was getting ready to come up here to jump on, and I love the fact that you and I are so similar, Sean, except for you and I did not make it. I mean, you made it. You powered through. I was not in football shape because after the 4 o'clock games, that 8 o'clock game wasn't happening, man. I mean, I don't even know what was going on. I don't remember who played. I saw some of it on and off.
Detroit?
No, I know. It was good. I saw the game. I saw the second half much more than the first half. I thought all the games were fun to watch. I thought there was some games that could have been better. Like I make fun of Pittsburgh just because they didn't put up any. I mean, they put up 6 field goals, and I was going to take that clip up, but I didn't want to really start this into the Pittsburgh bashing with Eric. But they only needed 4 more field goals to reach Eric's crazy ass 30-point thought process. But all that being said, it was impressive to watch their defense play football. And you know, I bust Eric's balls all the time because it's Eric. But we all know that there's not a single person on this show, and then even with KD here, that thinks Pittsburgh's defense is bad. They were good last year. You added a piece here. I mean, I think they still have some depth issues personally, but you have to see it happen for it to do. But they played what they expected to play like. What Eric expected to play like, they did. And it was really cool to watch Pittsburgh defense. I'm not so happy with the offense, but Eric's satisfied with running the ball and not scoring because that's part of Arthur Smith's game plan is to play teams that can't score at all. Anyway, but that being said, I watched that game. I watched the Bills game. I watched the Dolphins game. I think that out of all the games I watched, that might have been the most upsetting. But I want to share this little tidbit of knowledge. I think I might have made a comment about it on a show at one point. There's a book. I talked about the book about the Super Bowl. It's the 3-time Super Bowl winners, right? Or the people going for 3 back-to-back Super Bowls. It's never happened. We know. Well, there was a guy who wrote a book. I got to get the information so I can share it with you guys. Well, he went through all of the teams that had won back-to-back Super Bowls and came down with the analysis, the analytics. These teams made the playoffs. These teams went far in the playoffs. This team didn't make the playoffs at all. And there was a lot of analytical stats stuff that they could talk about. But really what it came down to was what he said was fortune. He said fortune was the reason for the not getting to the 3rd Super Bowl and how much luck plays into the game. And what I mean by luck is this, right? And it happened in the Miami game. If you look at it happened last year when Zay Flowers was about to score a touchdown in the AFC Championship game, there was a fumble at the goal line and the ball bounced into the favor of the eventual Super Bowl champions. the San Francisco 49ers, Roger Craig fumbled the ball, and Joe Montana had a mishap, and that game cost them moving forward. And it's not just the turnover; it's the bounce of the ball, because it wasn't just the bad throw where it was intercepted or someone took the ball. It's the fortune of the bouncing of the ball. Well, I watched ETN about to score a touchdown, and he fumbled it out of the back of the end zone. On the very next play, Tyreek Hill had an 80-yard touchdown reception, and Miami fortune went this way. I'm not saying that this is now the start of a team that's going to win a Super Bowl, but it makes a lot of sense that sometimes the balls just happen to bounce your way more often than not. The Jacksonville game, Jacksonville played a hell of a game against Miami for majority of the game. And then I believe they punched that ball in the end zone. That puts the game out of reach. But it didn't. And Miami was able to capitalize and do what they do. And it was a great play. I mean, a great touchdown. Tyreek Hill is phenomenally fast. It was ridiculous, but that's what I think. So I'm going to share that book, the name of the book, and I'll share it with you guys, because it's really an interesting thought process of the bounce of the ball and which way it can go and all that other stuff. And I like bouncing balls that way.
All right. I hate to interrupt you, Jeff, but we have a special guest star on here. We have KD, my super chocolate bear. KD, remember, you are black and driving. If you get pulled over, roll down your window. What?
Hey, I'm good. Hey, I'm good. I'm not in the backwoods of Alabama or Louisiana, so I'm fine.
All right, hit us with it. What you got for us, man? We haven't seen you in months.
So, hey, look, I'm just happy to be back on with you guys. So, I just got practice done, so that's why I'm in the car for a little bit. And I just wanted to pop in because I told you guys I'll be on for a little bit. So,
what
great to see you,
KD. Your Ravens loss there. Did you see my promotional video?
I did not. I can watch it once this is over with. I'm pretty sure it's fun.
Oh, it was good. It was good, KD.
Are we still no go with Applebee's or not?
I have not made fun of Applebee's in a while, just because I just got over my case of diarrhea from them 6 months ago, so I don't want to poke the bear.
Hey, KD, what you will have to do, KD, is you will have to watch the replay, at least for the first, the Tyreek Hill conversation, because Sean actually said, Sean says funny things, but Sean actually said something. It got me. Like, I actually had to do the whatever type of laugh that is. That's what it sounded like in my head. But anyway, it was good.
Pittsburgh is going to be top this year.
Oh my gosh!
Oh man, I don't know what he said because he broke up, or was it just me?
Yeah, he broke up.
He broke up.
Oh, you were talking shit about Pittsburgh, and I was happy for a second, but you broke up.
Hey, yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, go now.
All right, so
you're on mute.
You're talking about.
When he's sticking his nose, he comes in crystal clear. Put the finger in the nose and talk.
Hey, listen. Hey, you being in Colorado, I think you're sending. We're getting contact highs from you. Listen, I tried to mute myself, and I muted you. Right after you said, "Can I hear you?" And then all of a sudden, I was about to be like, "I can't hear him again." Jesus, man. I'm sorry, Katie.
All right,
I'm an idiot.
I'm gonna try this again. Damn. All right. So I said it's better than at least hearing somebody saying Pittsburgh's gonna have a top 5 offense.
Yeah, it's close enough. It's a top 5 offense, all right.
Hey, he's top 5 in PFF.
Oh my gosh, here we go. I'm sorry, I was just playing, bro.
Me too.
Bro, what did you think of that Ravens game? I mean, I thought it was a great game.
I liked it. I just didn't like our game plan. So like I felt like our game plan, we were too reactionary instead of, hey, look, we're gonna be proactive instead of reacting to what they're doing. Like, I got it at some point, you gotta adjust and whatnot. But I just felt like the Ravens came out and was like, hey, we want Lamar Jackson to play hero ball, and we're not gonna really have a calculated plan about what we wanted to do. And so, like, yeah, they almost won the game, but they shouldn't have ever been in that situation. Because if you tell me Patrick Mahomes is not going to get a passing touchdown to mid third quarter, I tell you the Ravens win that game easily. right? But we all know that wasn't the case.
Hey,
well, like I said, like I was telling
hey,
you in
hey,
the chat,
hey, let me ask you a question real quick, because this is the part that just it's baffling. David and I were talking about this, and I'm sure you're going that route, Dave, with this conversation, but I want to just emphasize it. Last year during the Super Bowl, or not Super, no, not the Super Bowl. Last year during the AFC Championship game, we talked about the outcome and how it could have been this way, and how with a 32nd or 30th rush defense, and you guys having the number one rushing offense, how is it that you pass so much and didn't run? And we figured that going into the year, since Harbaugh that's his game plan for the most part. Why is it against Kansas City? Is it that Lamar Jackson's throwing the ball 41 times? I mean, granted, they did run the ball 30 plus times. I mean, it wasn't that, when you hear a 41 passing attempts by Lamar Jackson, that it comes down to a part where you're thinking 41 passes and 12 rushes. It's not such an off ratio, meaning 41 to 32. It's not that far off. But I think we've figured out over the course of Lamar Jackson's career thus far, his best games come with 22 passes. His best games come with 45 rushes. And if he's having 10 of them or 15 of them, that's fine. You brought in Henry, and Henry touched the ball 13 times, but you ran 32. But you threw the ball 41. What is your thoughts about how they approach? I know you said the game plan being reactionary, but that's not even a game plan that's reactionary. That's a game plan that's just, in my opinion, a disastrous preparation for this game.
Katie, let me add in real quick, and then I just want to add into Jeff's point here, because I've been preaching this forever, and I'm glad that finally from the chat, you guys are finally learning that, hey, Lamar needs to not throw 40 times because he's not a passer. He's a runner, right? And you initially had the RPO going with the hammer in the beginning. You're running Henry. You're running to the outside. You're making the defense be in conflict. You look good on the first drive, and then you just thought Harbaugh's like, well, I think I'm probably going to have Lamar throw the rest of the game. Hey, so perfect. Thank you, Jeff. I mean, I've finally been preaching that to you, and Katie, I've been preaching that to you forever. Go ahead now, Katie.
What?
Yours.
What? You make no sense, my guy. But okay, I'll let you have that point, because if you go look at the Colts game, there's a couple of games he threw the ball 30-some times. It's okay though. But again, you got to remember, they didn't play the preseason. So that's my only issue with this. If they played the preseason, right, you can get some of those kinks out of there. And that's the issue with Harbaugh. That's the one thing I don't like about him is that, hey, okay, we're trying to be precautionary in the preseason and not even giving these guys a series. And I just think that in turn hurts everybody in the first week. And now you spend the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks trying to shake off the rust, if you will. And it looks like, for me, you're playing scared. That's what it looks like. Because there's no way Justice Hill get more carries than Derrick Henry. I don't believe in that at all.
So that being said, just want to say, Eric, you didn't teach me shit. We've been talking about that since Lamar Jackson was a rookie, by the way. So that's that. I'll leave it at that, Dave. I'll let you continue, because all I want to do is clarify that I ain't learning shit from you.
Hey, anybody can learn that from Louisville days, but okay.
But here's the reality: his successes come when and it's. I'm not saying he can't throw the ball 30 times. But
I think the one thing, I talked to KD about this. I think the one thing that I found to be troubling, it was the lack of adjustment to the Rashee Rice being covered by the linebacker. That's a great dashboard, Katie. I love that. But no, I think the lack of adjustment early, when Rashee Rice was just getting them passes over the middle and not having that safety come down and leaving the linebacker out to dry. That was my frustration with that.
Well, even if you keep him there, right? So you take away the inside, and then now you can basically bracket him, right?
Right.
But again, like you said, the lack of adjustments on their part for that, and for me, if you're not going to adjust, if I know I got him, I'm gonna line up inside to where he can't kill me right off the line of scrimmage and get a lot of yak. Because that's a tough ask for any linebacker, let alone Roquan Smith. That's because I'm being honest with you. Like, Roquan Smith is as good as he is. He's not a speedster linebacker.
Right.
You know, like he's line of scrimmage at probably 7 yards. Anything outside of 7 yards, you know, it's a crapshoot. You know, like he covers ground side to side, but he's not. You know, hey, I'm gonna run you down. You know, with my 4.2 speed or something like that. He just don't have that. So that again, that's a systematic flaw on the defensive coordinator. So basically saying, hey, look, all right, if this happens, Roquan line up to chip him, and that way the safety can come down and basically take that underneath route away, or either limit his yards after the catch. So if you don't do that, then that's what you're susceptible to. And you know, kudos to Kansas City for going to the well as long as they could with that. Because again, if it was me, I would have did that, but I would have bracketed him with Trenton Simpson, and I would have had, you know, my safety on the opposite side where Simpson was. The safety would have took his guy initially, and as long as that guy didn't go across the field and he did like a clear out, we were still good in play because I can have Roquan chip him, and then Trent Simpson can take him on the upfield if he ran upfield. So.
Hey, so one question for you, KD, and one statement. The first question is, we said last year that Isaiah Likely, I mean, he was going to be a guy. Like, he was going to be the guy. I drafted Mark Andrews in fantasy football, and it looks like Likely's the guy now. Is this a transition now? Is this where Andrews kind of gets weeded out, or is this just the game because the matchup was good? Is Likely the guy now?
I don't want it to. Here's the reason why I don't want it to, right? Is because we don't have that matchup problem. Like, Zay Flowers is a good matchup problem for some people in the cornerback position, but he's not a matchup problem for everybody to where he's going to command the double team, right? So all that is going to happen is if we do that, they're going to double Likely, and then now we essentially have one tight end. Now, I know Andrews is nursing an injury as well. He got into an accident, so he had some injury that he's nursing. So I want to see what he's going to look like when he's closer to 100%, and I hope for all intents and purposes it's not, because we're going to flourish out of the 12 personnel now because we would have two receiving threat tight ends. Unlike before, when we had Mark Andrews and Hayden Hurst was just not getting the burn. So now we have that, and I feel like, hey, if I'm the Raven, I want to kind of play with my weapons as long as I can. But I feel like if it's not going to be effective this year, the writing is probably on the wall for Mark Andrews, and I would think they would trade him to get something for him versus just letting him walk.
Okay, bet. And then my statement, when you were talking about a speedy linebacker, Eric said he loves you because your speedy linebacker went to Pittsburgh and Patrick Queen. But just so you know, Patrick Queen had 2 tackles in the game against Atlanta. I know Roquan had 7, but I just want to let you know how good Patrick Queen was playing. He was speedy everywhere but where it mattered.
Right. Hey, and he had an interception, by the way. So, yeah.
Hey, they gave up 10 points, right? So ideally you're in the middle, making the team throw to the outside, which, hey, Jackson had an interception, and Deshaun Elliott, another former Ravens, who's coming over to the better lands, the wonderful world.
You did score a touchdown against the fucking Atlanta Falcons. Go to bed, bro. Go to bed. Go to bed,
no, but they had 6 field goals. Justin Fields a top 5 quarterback.
Hey, listen.
Hey, Eric, look, listen. I'm convinced we can take all 5 of us and 6 other random people, dudes in America. Give us 2 weeks and we can score a touchdown on the Falcons defense.
Hey, Boswell is better.
The week 1 Falcons defense, because the Falcons defense is going to get better throughout the year. I mean, they did well. You know, Judon. I mean, that's the funny part, because Judon, I think, sacked your guy. I mean, because your guy took a couple sacks, right? Didn't Justin Fields take a couple more sacks for his career? I think Judon had one of those, and he just got to the team like a week ago.
Wait, let me just. Okay, so Chris Boswell had 6 field goals. Okay, 3 of them were from 50 yards or more. And then he had a 47. So it's not like, and the only time they penetrated deep into Atlanta's territory was on the interception where they got to the 18-yard line and they gained 3 more yards thanks to slash Justin Fields.
Okay, hey,
Randall L. Quarterback.
Hey, I'm out. We're not going to go here. All I'm going to say is Dallas's kicker can kick it a freaking mile.
Oh, he can. He can.
Yeah, so we're just.
I was hoping they were going to go for the 71-yarder.
I think he would have made it.
Oh, I think he would. I was hoping to as well. Hey, but here's where I want to insert my point, and then I'll be done talking. As a matter of fact, Sean, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave, because I do have to go do some things. So listen, I do want to make this point. Sean made a comment. Eric made a comment earlier in the thing when I was talking about so-and-so having 4.9 yards per carry, and he was like, that's because he had 1 run for 26. I'll do a couple things for you, Eric. I'm just going to use this as an instance. 1, Najee Harris had 70 yards rushing, 20 attempts. His longest was 20 yards. So let's remove that 20-yard and 1 carry. That puts him at 50 yards, and that gives him a 2.3 yards per carry. So not even close to even as good as Ford. And then, of course, George Pickens had 85 yards, one of those being a 40-yard. So if you take that and 5 at 45, he's got 9 yards per carry, per catch, which is a pretty good stat for a shitty receiver. So at the end of the day, we've talked, and that's the part that I hate when you say shit like that. And this isn't about you specifically. We've had conversations on this show regarding, like, I don't remember what year it was, Dave. So-and-so had 138 yards rushing against Buffalo. Mm-hmm. It was 179-yard rush there was a hold on the play and blah, blah, blah. And everybody's like, oh, they killed it. Man, for the whole game, the dude had 1 rush for 79 yards. It's part of the combination of games. I mean, the bottom line is ain't no one running the ball 4.9 yards for 85 carries to get 300 yards. There's always a breakout. I mean, there's a run. There's a long run. I mean, so it doesn't matter how you achieved it. The bottom line is 70 yards on a 20-yard carry. So 50 yards on the rest of the 19 yards. So that's not a very good average. It does matter. They do get broke out. Someone does break a run every game. So anyway, that's all I'm saying is that you can't take that 1 run out because guess what? It's not about – I mean, Barry Sanders would have if you didn't count the 2 runs a game that Barry Sanders had for like 60 yards, Barry Sanders would have negative 28 yards because he was hitting the backfield and tackling the backfield 95% of the time, and it was the 5% that he would rip off a long one, and that would give him 112 yards for the game.
Listen here, Gandalf. You're supposed to help the hobbits, not cut the hobbits.
Hey, I like the fact that you called yourself a hobbit equally as much as I'm trying to go for the Gandalf beard. So I like it, man. We're on the same sheet. All right. Hey, listen, guys. Hey, Sean, I'm going to shoot you my picks. I already got them made. I'll send them to you. I appreciate y'all's time, and I really appreciate talking. Katie, it's always good to see you. And I'm a little offended that the video camera was on you, and yet David said nice dashboard. I didn't understand it. Anyway, just kidding. It wasn't. That's fucked up, Jeff. Anyway, y'all be good. I'll see you later. You guys be good.
Have a good night.
All right. See you, Jeff.
Hey, Dave, before you leave, play that video again for Eric. It was good, the one I played earlier.
I'll play it at the end. I will.
All right. So we're going to go into the pick'ems. Eric, I wanted to give you a chance to speak, but Katie came on, so we had to do it. And I was going to make a short joke, but Jeff just took it, so it fucked me up. And but I am going to give you the last word tonight. And since Jeff isn't on, you won't be interrupted. So we got that going for us. Okay, so we're gonna go to pick'ems now. For all of you out there, what's that?
I said whatever you say.
Okay, thank you. All right, so if you get into this, because Mike Paoli and Tim Hood I'm sorry for using your last names. Are the only 2 fans who got into it this week. Whoever has the most wins from our fans wins a sweatshirt. So even though you could be so many points behind, you can still catch up. We still got, 17 more weeks in this league. Mm-hmm. So let's all right. Thank you, dear. Okay, so get your picks in ftcsports1@gmail.com. Let's quick put up the slide from last week and see how we all did.
No.
please. Okay, there we go. Jeff 10-6, David 9-7, Eric and KD 11-5. I was 12-4. Hot Pockets was 12-4, and Tim was 10-6. I really wanted to go from like the worst to the best. So, David, next week I'm just going to move you to the top because you suck.
Shut up. I'll get it.
Yeah, just like you got it last year.
I'm like Aaron Rodgers. I'm slow out the gate, but I'll catch up.
Isn't it funny that the Loddicks are in last place? I mean, ideally Jeff and Dave, but hey,
the people who talk the most and think that like they know the most, but that's not true. Obviously, I know the least about football here, and I always win. So all you guys are just playing for second place. All right, so we're going to quick talk about this game, and then we're going to talk about a couple games on here. But let's start off with Thursday night football on Prime. Buffalo at Miami.
Go ahead, Eric. I'll let you go first because you're going to tell me that it's a lock, and so go ahead.
I got Miami 34, Buffalo 24.
All right. I am also going Miami because Josh Allen scored 70 touchdowns last week. It was because the Arizona fucking Cardinals. KD, are you going to send me your picks or are you going to pop up here and stay on for the pick section? He's not answering. My chocolate bear. Super chocolate bear.
You're muted, KD. Are you there?
Nah, I think he's out. Okay, David, who you got? Buffalo or Miami at Miami?
As Tua said, the narrative will be until we beat Buffalo and do it consistently, the narrative will be we can't beat Buffalo. Buffalo will win this game. It's not because the heat factor in Miami, they're playing at night, so it's not going to be, they're not going to be sitting in 120 degrees in the scorching sun, which will help because the 2 years ago or last year, whenever they did that, they were 5 yards away from winning that game. And as good as Miami is, Buffalo makes adjustments, and Buffalo adjusts. And the biggest problem I have is this is a division game, and division games are different animals than any other game. And I think Buffalo wins. I'm not going to predict the score. It's not going to be like 45-20 and whatever. Could be the other way, but I say Buffalo wins this game.
Okay, that was extremely long-winded.
Yes, it was.
All right. Okay, so it's since you deferred to Eric, now it goes to me. New Orleans at Dallas. I got Dallas in this game. No problem. Wow.
Is KD there?
No, but his dashboard is, and it's so splendorous, isn't it?
It is. Very nice.
Oh, maybe he's pulled over. Roll your window down. Roll it down.
My God. Dude.
Okay, David, who do you got? New Orleans at Dallas.
As good as New Orleans was last week, it was Carolina. Dallas played good. They played a good defense. And I'm going to take Dallas.
All right. Eric.
Dallas.
Okay. All I can say is I hope Katie realizes he's still connected, because if he goes into the bedroom and starts making sweet, sweet love.
I can hear you, fuckers.
Yeah, we didn't want to get no Shannon Sharp thing going on in here.
All right. KD, you're going to send me your picks, right? Or do you want to catch up?
No. I got Miami because it's gonna be hot and it's gonna be in Miami. I'm talking on the phone, sorry. And then I got Dallas for the second game.
All right. Are you ordering food?
Yes, I ordered food.
Okay. Tampa Bay. You're next. Tampa Bay at Detroit.
Jeffrey's taking Buffalo, Sean.
I'm taking Detroit in that one.
All right, David.
I'm gonna take Detroit.
Okay, Eric.
I was distracted. Who is Detroit playing?
Tampa Bay at Detroit.
Oh, I got Bailey told me to pick Tampa Bay because he thinks it's going to be the upset game of the week, and his picks were actually even better than all of ours. Because I was looking at that while I was taking my power nap when we were talking about Carolina. So I've got Tampa Bay winning.
Okay, so you are lone wolfing it there. I'm keeping up with Jeffrey's picks. Thank you, Jeffrey, for chiming in. Now we go back to this is to David. Indy at Green Bay. This is a Jordan Love isn't playing.
Indianapolis wins. Malik, whatever his name, Willis. Yeah, not happening. Definitely Indianapolis.
Okay, Eric.
Katie, what are you eating tonight? What'd you order?
The blackest food of them all.
Carl's Jr.
Fried?
He stopped at KFC. You got Popeyes. Did you get Popeyes, KD?
Fried chicken and watermelon.
Dave, you get 2 Negro points.
Yeah, I miss me some Popeyes. That was good.
Okay. So I've got Green Bay winning 10-6.
All right. Green Bay is at home. Oh boy, that's a tough one. I'm going to go Indy just because of the backup quarterback. And Jeff is stupid. And KD, what you got?
I'm going Green Bay.
Oh,
backup quarterback. All right. Game probably worth a little bit of talk. So now it's Eric's turn to start off. The Jets at Tennessee.
God, that Will Levis interception, that was terrible, wasn't it, boys? That was probably one of the worst things. And the fact he goes, oh, no. It was like, oh, no.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes, I ain't.
It was like no mayo and coffee is going to save that tomorrow on the film study. So, hey, look, I don't think there's that much talk to it. Tennessee loses. I mean, there isn't much to say. I think they're going to get beat. And so I don't even care who they playing again.
Jets.
The Jets. Yeah. The Jets are going to get it right because I hope, or that coach, if they start off 0-4, I mean, they should punt him because that team's too good. And I don't think Tennessee's there yet. So give me the Jets.
All right. I'm also going Jets. They right the ship this week. KD?
Yeah, I want to know how in the hell they thought 0-4 after playing 2 games. But okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Jets.
All right. David.
Tennessee's defense played good, but yeah, their offense is still a work in progress, and the Jets get it right this week.
All right. San Francisco at Minnesota. This one is to me, correct?
Yep.
San Francisco. KD.
You're muted.
Yeah. Give me San Fran. I'm gonna take San Fran this week.
All right. David.
I did like Sam Darnold. He looked good. But San Fran's defense, even if Christian McCaffrey, they already ruled him out this week. So get your fantasy lineup according, Eric. Christian McCaffrey's not playing week 2. So yeah, as much as Darnold looked good in the defense, I'm taking San Francisco.
Eric?
So Bailey thinks the Vikings are going to win because he was down here and he wanted to give this pick, but he got bored and went upstairs. So here's the deal. Darnold knows the defense, and so this is going to be a game. And I think it's going to be a really competitive game because I think he probably knows what to expect. Now, I don't think Minnesota has the talent San Francisco has, so based on talent, San Francisco should win. But I'm going to go a close one. I'm going to go San Francisco 27, Minnesota 24.
I'm going to mark this down just because it really doesn't matter. Okay. So I just did that one. KD, right?
Yep.
Okay. Seattle at New England.
Yeah, Seattle avenges their Super Bowl loss. So I'm going to Seattle this one.
All right, David.
Yeah, as good as New England's defense played, I think Seattle has too many weapons on offense, and New England doesn't have any. So I'm going to take Seattle.
Eric.
It'll be a close game, but Seattle wins.
I'm kind of on the New England bandwagon here. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I said they're going to be pretty good. And I thought their defense would be good. They'll run the ball. They'll play to the defense, and they won't put their defense in bad situations. So, you know what? It's week 2, and I'm going to take New England's 2-0, and they win.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to Seattle. David, Giants at Washington.
Man. Well, this could be the week that Brian Daboll gets fired. So Daniel Jones is awful. That team is awful. Washington wins this game. Jaden Daniels gets his first win as a quarterback for the Commanders.
Eric.
Where's the game at?
Washington.
Okay, here's
DC.
Here's the deal. They will have less people there. No, I won't say it. It's a political joke, so I'm going to let it go. Hey, nobody's going to be watching the game, so nobody cares, but Washington wins.
Okay, I'm going Washington also. Katie?
You're still muted, Katie.
That's okay. Katie has the Giants for it all. Oh, no, man. He's got drinks and shit. Okay. We'll let him come back next time. Eric. I'm sorry, you just did Eric. Okay, Chargers at Carolina. The worm has turned. Not for the good. Not that they're going to be great, but I'll take the Chargers.
What, Chargers at Carolina?
Yeah.
Well, they score 47 points easy. Chargers.
All right, Eric.
This is at Carolina, right?
It is at Carolina. Oh, Jesus Christ. You talk for 30 seconds. I'll be right back.
So here's the thing. You know, the Chargers are not they've got Herbert and Harbaugh, but we're talking like the Chargers are some San Francisco 49ers rolling into Carolina. This could be deceptively. Carolina just got embarrassed. I think they have pride. I'm going to go Panthers.
Eric, your team, your JV team that rushes for 252 yards could beat Carolina Panthers.
I wish our JV team rushed for 252.
Yeah, or whatever. So yeah, you could beat Carolina.
252. No,
varsity.
Yeah.
Hey, KD, who do you got? You got the Chargers or Carolina?
That game's gonna get canceled.
Did you take the Giants over Washington?
No.
Okay, yeah, he took Washington. Katie took Washington.
I know. I was busting his balls to get his ass back here. Okay, so Eric, who did you have? Carolina?
I've got the Panthers.
Okay, KD?
Chargers. Give me the Chargers.
All right.
Now this is how I catch you back in the picks, Eric. You're going full on loaded here. You're going full on loaded. I mean, you never go full on loaded on the show.
This crap is going. I'm going to win this.
All right. So now we got Cleveland at Jacksonville. Oh, I have a feeling Katie left because his wife's upset that I called him Super Chocolate Bear. So David, go ahead and pick Cleveland at Jacksonville.
This is tough. This is going to be a close game. Oh, man. Oh, dude. It's now or never for Cleveland. If they have any opportunity to right the ship and get Deshaun Watson out of his head, they have to win this game. Otherwise, this season could be in jeopardy. So I'm going to take the Browns because that's just how desperate it is, even though it's week 2 for them. I think Deshaun Watson needs to show something to his teammates that he's able to win. And this is the game that he's going to have to do it. So I'm taking Cleveland in a close game.
All right. And Eric.
Jacksonville, 31-13.
Ooh. Tight ends out for Cleveland. Oh, Miami's D isn't that bad, but are they for real? I'm gonna side with David on this one. I think this is a very pivotal game for Cleveland. Because if they shit the bed here, man.
He's like, and I know it would have been a difference. They trying to get more people.
It's not a political show, man. And we hear you guys talking Donald Trump in the background. Come on.
What are we talking about?
Well, we were asking you about Cleveland at Jacksonville, but we just heard all this stuff about Donald Trump in the background.
What are you talking about? I ain't say that about no Trump.
I don't know. Your wife was watching the podcast at first, and I said, "How's my super chocolate bear?"
Oh,
and then she never responded. I think she's upset with me. So,
Dude, that looks awesome, by the way.
I know.
I'm about to devour it all.
What you got there? You got a drumstick there? Is that a thigh or a breast? What you got?
Yeah, I got 2 breasts and a thigh and a leg.
Wow, man, that's just wrong. That you're eating that scrumptious Popeyes in front of me, and you're not sending any. I'm only like 11 hours from you. You could have dropped some off on your way back from practice.
All right, you better come down here.
No, I got to go up there. You got to come.
Oh yeah,
down.
yeah. I forgot you in Arizona. Yeah, you better come up here.
It's faster for you to come down. It's always faster going down than going up.
No, your roads are crazy.
Oh, come on, it ain't that bad.
Outside of the major city limits, some of your roads are like the hill have eyes.
Oh man, you got. I'll bring you down to some hills have eyes roads out here, man. It's awesome. But
yeah.
So who you got, KD? Cleveland.
You got Cleveland or Jacksonville. They're playing at Jacksonville.
Ooh. Because I do not like Cleveland offensive situation. Jesus Christ.
That's why it's pivotal, man. This is a game that
could
be pivotal.
Give me Cleveland.
All right.
Give me Cleveland. I think they found a way to get it together.
Okay.
I'm Lone Wolf. I'm going to kick you guys' ass this week.
That's what you always say. That's what you always say.
Either that, or you're going to end up with Pittsburgh's 5-12 record.
Just think about this. In 1 week, you can go from second tied to David beating you. You really need to think about these things. Maybe you just need to play, get enough of a lead on David. Then you can take those chances. Because let's face it, we all know David's going to come in last.
Yeah. Hey, go big or go home.
Yeah, it is what it is. Hey, Paoli's messaging me now. Okay, so KD lost. Oh, I'm sorry, Eric. This is you because I went to David last time. Vegas at Baltimore.
Oh man, here's the deal: the Ravens are coming off an emotional low. Lamar Jackson can't throw, but they're going to win anyways. So give me Baltimore.
Emotional low for a week 1 loss. What?
I'm busting your balls. I miss you, Katie. I know it's not the same not getting to talk to you.
We're not Pittsburgh.
Man,
give me Baltimore.
All right, I'm going Baltimore. KD, do we need to ask?
Nope.
All right, David.
Man, I think Isaiah likely eats again this week. Outside of Crosby and Wilkins, that Raiders defense looks bad, and I think you're going to see more than 12 touches from Derrick Henry this week. And yeah, Baltimore wins.
Baltimore's at home. Like you had to go. Okay, when Jeff catches up. Okay, so to me, Rams at Arizona. Oh, this is tough because Arizona always pulls out stupid wins. Nuka Pakua is out. I'm going Arizona. KD.
I'm going Rams.
Okay. You notice I waited until he took the biggest bite he possibly could.
Yeah, you're like a waitress at a restaurant. How's your meal? Mm-hmm. But
David,
Arizona gets Marvin Harrison Jr. involved in this game. James Conner had a great game last week, and I think he builds on it. And this is a division game, and they're playing in Arizona, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm taking Arizona in this game.
Well, that makes me a lot less sure of my pick. Eric?
So the Rams are pretty beat up, and that's what worries me. But I think they've got a better coaching staff, and I think they've got the better quarterback. So I'm going to go with KD on this one. I think he's right. When in doubt, trust the guy eating fried chicken. So let's go with the Rams.
Yeah. And you notice how he's just sitting there in front of the camera. Like he just sits in the box and sitting in front of the camera. Then he's eating and he's like, ooh. That's fucked up, man. All right. So Jeffrey's already picked Pittsburgh over Denver at Denver. KD?
I think this is a trap game for Pittsburgh. But I don't think they fall susceptible to it. I think it could, the first couple of series, they could struggle. But I got Pittsburgh in the squeaker.
David.
Okay, so this is where I'm going to differ from Eric because I actually think Patrick Surtain locks down George Pickens. Whatever his name is, number 2 in Pittsburgh. Justin Fields is starting again. And Bo Nix gets his first win. It's going to be a close game, but they're playing in Denver. And if you could take George Pickens successfully out of your game plan, I think you have a good shot. So I'm taking Denver in an upset, if you want to call it an upset. But I think Denver wins a close game, probably 16-12. So Chris Boswell can have 4 more field goals, and it'll be great. He'll lead the league in points.
So Boswell is the most accurate kicker over 50 yards in the history of the NFL.
Sure.
That's a good
That's right.
By the way. I mean, so
that's what I'm saying. He's going to get.
No. I'll be quick because he's better than Justin Tucker. But anyways,
oh God.
Anyways, here's the deal. I'm not going to pick Bo Nix. If they had a quarterback that wasn't a rookie in this situation, I might think Denver could win it in a trap game. But they could take George Pickens away, 100%. But Fields and the RPO and using Freiermuth and using Darnell Washington and using some of the other things they started to do in the second half, rolling him out of the pocket and being in a heavy personnel and using your tight ends is probably going to what happened here. And it worked to their benefit because they moved the ball much fluid in the second half. So therefore, I'm going to think Pittsburgh wins, and I'm going to go because every game's a squeaker to us. Like 8 points feels like we win by 30. That's why I was so excited because, I mean, like, damn, we didn't win by 1 or 2 points. We won by 8, so that feels like 30. But I'm going to go Pittsburgh 27-10.
What? Hey, I like how, Eric, I just like how you take the credit that I told you what Pittsburgh was going to have to do. And you kind of told me I was wrong, but okay.
Here's the reason why I'm an assistant and you're the big guy, right?
I just love the fact I won't be long here. 4 minutes later, Jesus Christ, you're worse than fucking Dave. So I'm going to take a second here because I'm going to make my prediction on this in a second. But I got to ask KD because man, I'm loving you eating that. All right, do you take the skin off, then eat the meat, and then save all the skin till the last, or do you eat it right away?
I don't eat the skin.
What?
The fuck is wrong with you?
There's nothing wrong with me.
You don't eat the skin?
That's the best part.
All
That's
that
the only reason to get fried chicken.
Oh my God. You might just go to the store and buy yourself chicken breast and bake it. Don't waste that beautiful, delicious, golden battered chicken skin. You can overnight it to me. It'll still be good. Jeez.
And it's spicy. That's the reason why I get it.
All right. Well, that you have just now lost one of your black cards.
Man card is gone.
I got to pull that from you. All right. So anyway, between Pittsburgh and Denver, I'm going Pittsburgh because they played a better team last week, and he scored 6 field goals. The only difference is now he can make it from 5 yards further. So he should have 8. So Pittsburgh's going to win that game at Denver, and Russell Wilson is going to do the same thing he did in Denver and sit on the bench and watch it. All right. KD, let's go. Cincinnati at Kansas City.
God help us all if the Bengals start 0-2 for the season. They're banged up too. So give me Kansas City. I think Cincinnati doesn't get the job done.
All right,
yeah.
David.
T. Higgins hasn't practiced. Kansas City just finds ways to win. Doesn't matter. Hollywood Brown's probably not going to play. Give me Kansas City. Xavier Worthy has another big game.
All right, Eric.
So here's the deal. I don't believe in the Bengals. I've said I don't believe in the Bengals, so I'm going KC. Why would I go Bengals against the best team in the league?
All right. I am also Kansas City. Jeff's coming behind in picks. We'll make sure we remind him to come up here. And remember, everybody who's watching out there, ftcsports1@gmail.com. Submit your picks and get in for that free sweatshirt. Oh, God, this is not a good Sunday night game. Chicago at Houston. I'm going to take this one first because we were watching it, and I kept telling my girlfriend, she's a Chicago fan, they're going to be good. They're going to be good. They got all this going on. She goes, no. It's going to take a couple years. And after watching that game last week, I'm like, oh, God damn it. She's right. It's going to take a year or two, but this is not going to be a good game for Chicago Bears. It's going to go to Houston. Their defense is not going to bail them out with 2 touchdowns. Go ahead, KD.
Wait, before you pick, hey, Charles, we're doing a pick'em thing. So if you want, put all your picks, email them to ftcsports1@gmail.com. You can get in on it, and if you win, you will win From the Couch Sports Talk sweatshirt. We'll be giving away at the end of the year after we tabulate all the picks, all the rights and wrongs. So if you want to pick them, ftcsports1@gmail.com. Get your picks in.
And you just have to have more right than anyone else. You are now 9 to 12 games behind the other people. You can make that up over a season. All right. KD, who you got? Chicago and Houston.
I'm going Houston. I just feel like they're a more complete team. And Caleb Williams is still kind of shaky.
Yeah.
All right, Eric, David.
Houston. Not much to say.
Eric? Okay. And the last game, Monday Night Football. Oof. Atlanta at Philadelphia. KD, God. Oh, he's eating.
Is it 2000? Is it 2016 again?
It could be. Depends on who gets elected. Oh, political.
Yeah, we're gonna go. I'm gonna go with Philly. I'm gonna go with Philly on this one.
All right, David.
Yeah, definitely Philly. Gonna win this game.
It's at Philly. Give me the Eagles.
Okay, I'm also picking Philly. All right. So there we go. That's it for the show. Charles, please get your picks in FTC Sports 1 at gmail.com so you can get in line and get that sweatshirt. And I got to tell you, man, that sweatshirt is awesome. I've had mine for a year. It's still soft as hell. And before we wind up, I want to thank you all. And probably please remind you to subscribe, notify, share, and for all the latest content. And Eric, you, my friend, because Jeff's not here, has the last word. And if Jeff comes on, David, you do not let him on the air.
Wait a minute. I just got to say, you can have the last word, Eric, but not before Jeff has his last word.
Now, Robert Salah, guess who he was the coach for? The same guy who's going to fucking teach him a lesson, because here's the deal. Salah hasn't done shit as a coach. You want to talk about motivation? He could be motivated all he wants. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to be motivated to talk to daddy and kiss the rings, because he came from the guy who's fucking coaching him. And the coach is going to coach him again. Bottom line.
All right, Eric. Take your last word.
So, I mean, I could do the usual and bust Katie's balls about Boswell being better than Tucker and all the usual things like that really matters, because kickers are people too. But I'm not going to do that. Tonight, I'm going to talk about, kind of growing and growth. Okay. So, what I'm learning, and I'm going to a ton of football games. This is a busy season for me, but what I'm learning, and a moment of reflection here, boys, is that in life or leading, it's about the relationships that you build with your players, your coaches, etc. Okay, this is what the journey is all about. Ideally, there's only a couple state champions every year in each class. Okay, so if you got 5A, you got all the way down to 1A, you've got a champion, so 5 champions, or 6A in Indiana because they got 6. But it's really about, at the end of the day, these kids are going to remember the time in practice, the time after practice, the time getting these grades up, the time spending together to build them to they become better men. And, just if you get the opportunity to make an impact on kids, you don't know what kind of home life they're having. A lot of them are having tough home lives. A lot of them are going through things and they don't know how to communicate. So by you just being out there and dedicating your time to help these kids, you're going to be making an impact much further than you really anticipate doing. All of us want to win, and all of us are competitive, and at the end of the day, want to have that feeling of victory at the end of the night. But the true feeling of victory is watching these kids grow up, watching them become men and successful men in society and live prosperous, happy lives. So as a coach who's been doing this for a decade in basketball and football, I implore you in the world, if you have the opportunity to give back and to be there, just be there to listen. They don't have to open up, and you don't have to solve all the problems they have in the world, but you can make an impact by just being there and making the effort.
All right. Wow. Nice, powerful words, my friend.
Hey, just thank me for putting that on your notes.
Wow, can't even give him that, KD. Boy. All right. Well, anyway,
I'm just joking.
we know, man.
Wait, you know what? That was probably that rolled up piece of paper. That was probably the speech he was writing for this show tonight. That's what it was. It wasn't your playbook. You already had that memorized. You were like, I got the last word. I got to write that down. I got to write this.
I'm just happy you got it all without your glasses.
All right. Well, thank you for watching the program tonight. For those of you who came in late, I think you need to watch the first 35 minutes of this program because it was pretty damn entertaining. So go back and rewatch it. But thank you for taking your time, spending your evening with us. And until next week, we will see you from the couch.
Peace.